welcome back to the Peril Palette. I'm your host Rudy. Appreciate y'all coming by again. I only get a chance to work on these projects during the weekend, so it's always difficult to get started. Start without the creative momentum. So I usually just try off something simple. In this case, I'm using a Wild Rider Red to do some dry brushing on the skin. This color is a little bit of a mixture of red and orange, so I haven't decided if I want to go orange or yellow. I'm not sure yet, but during this day, I just wanted to make sure I got a chance to get myself warmed up and add a little bit more color to the skin, because I really think that it's going to make the textures that are already out there look better. And for the wing membranes, I just wanted to use a little of this Ushabti bone. I really wanted to go light. I kind of like the transition with the airbrush did. But I am just going to try to bring out some of the color using Ushabti bone to bring out some of the wings. And that's kind of where I'm at. And now I'm actually looking at the face and saying, okay, I've got to start with the faces. So I'm going to first start with the red head of the Tiamat dragon. And now normally you would probably want to start with the inside of the mouth, the throat and tongue area. For some reason, I just wanted to start off with the teeth. I think it was because I was still unsure about how I wanted to do the underbelly section as far as painting it. However, I just wanted to get things started. I'm using Wraithbone here. I think it's a very good base coat color to get started. I'm kind of taking my time. I'm trying to do some of the lower layers and then the top layers of the teeth. Just taking my time with it. And then if you're seeing here, I'm really struggling with like where's my line for the underbelly for the Wraithbone. So I'm really taking my time. I think that's the reason why I chose Wraithbone here. And so as I was working on the red underbelly, I really wanted to try with the green underbelly as well, because the lines I thought a little bit more well defined. So in this case here, I still had to use 2 layers. I tried to do my best to water it down. And then once I got those underbelly layers down, it was time for me to take a look at the rest of the mouth. Now I'm starting off with using Basilicum Gray because I kind of like the translucent nature of the color, so I can work up the layers. And speaking of layers, I'm also using a shade layer of Juki Violet here to start off in the tongue. I know that tongues usually have different colors, pinks, purples, reds, so I'm just making that my initial layer. And I'm doing my best to be careful around the mouth, but I know if I get too far in the back, it'll work just fine. And then I'm using Agrax Earthshade to work on the teeth as well. Just trying to be careful about it. I know it's a dark color, so it's going to blend well with the throat and darker parts of the area in the back. Now for the underbelly, I wanted a little bit more warmer color, so I'm using Seraphim Sepia, because I think it's going to go well with the reds, especially if I have to blend it into the actual red skin color, as well as the other colors of the other parts of the dragon. Now to do the last parts of the tongue, I'm using a mixture of layers of Doomfire Magenta, Flesh Tears Red, and Contrast Paint. And as you can see here, I think even as it's drying, I think the colors are looking pretty strong. Now, once I've done all these pieces, I knew I was generating a lot of good creative energy, but now it's going to come to the more difficult parts as far as the details. Not just because of the details and how careful I got to be, but also because of the filming itself. As you can see here, I'm using a camera rig, using my phone to try to get some parts of the model, but as you zoom here, I'm also using these magnifying glasses to try to help me see the parts. So it was becoming really, really difficult to both work on and paint and film at the same time. So you'll notice here some of these videos or some of these shots are going to look a little bit soft just because I was having trouble. And in this case here, I already painted some of the areas white, and I just wanted to make sure I did it correctly the first time before I could kind of show you what I was doing. And what I was discovering is, as I was painting the eyes of the red dragon, I was like, hey, I've got a lot of good positive creative momentum. Let me keep on going. So I tried to work on the eyes of the blue dragon. And then at that point, I was like, hey, I think I have a good stopping point. I didn't want to like lose, negativity and momentum. So this is where you're going to see a series of montages of different parts of the model that I was working on to help keep my creative momentum going. In this case here, I'm using a little bit of Agrax Earthshade, again, to work on the teeth of the green dragon. And what you probably noticed is I also worked on a little bit of the black dragon, and I was actually just going back and forth between working on the mouth of the green dragon, like here I'm working on the details of the tongue, and then going back to the black dragon, going back and forth. And now that I got a couple practice tries doing the whites of the eyes, I really want to try to bring out some of the color. So I'm using a Bad Moon Yellow contrast paint because I really think it's a really good contrast color to the reds and a really good contrast color to the rest of the eyes. So I'm kind of taking my time here. I was getting a little bit more confident. I did make a mistake here, and you see here I used the pointed Q-tip to try to take some of the extra, the mistake that I made. But the good news is about that yellow, since it's a contrast paint, it comes out pretty well, and even you making mistakes, it still doesn't look too bad. And what you'll notice from here is as I'm working on the eyes of the black dragon, I'm really having trouble focusing or getting the camera in focus. I'm just using my normal iPhone, and I didn't know how to do a rack focus or stay focused in one area. So I was just running a lot of creative energy. And I know this part, I usually talk about my work in progress, but obviously, as you can kind of tell from the voiceover, I'm still trying to figure out how to do the voiceovers as well. And I appreciate you guys, putting up with me as I figure it out. I haven't quite figured out if I want to do a script or, make edits to what I'm shooting based on the voiceover, but I'm still working through that as well. So as you take a look at these video or pictures of the progress, I want to say thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video. And I appreciate you guys. And I think that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time.